Rachel Zegler is one of the most well-known names in Hollywood and for all of the wrong reasons, and she actually just recently won the Action Movie Star of the Year award, beating out people like Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise, and there are tons of individuals online absolutely roasting her and the People's Choice Award saying it is completely fake. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. Now, of course, many people now know who Rachel Zegler is, given she has been in a few movies at this point, like Shazam. She was in the West Side Story film. She, of course, was recently in Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and she is supposed to be in the upcoming Snow White live-action adaptation that was supposed to be releasing right around this time, but then they delayed it by a full year. And many people believe it is because of the massive backlash that's been surrounding her and all of the terrible interviews she's done and things that she has said. But now people are calling out not only her, but the People's Choice Awards, because Rachel Zegler has been named the Action Movie Star of the Year at this award show. It says at the People's Choice Awards, Rachel Zegler was named as the winner of the award for the Action Movie Star of the Year based on her starring role in The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Now, I know a lot of people actually ended up liking this Hunger Games movie. It wasn't so bad. It wasn't as bad as a lot of people were thinking, but yes, it did have a heaping helping dose of a bit of cringe, and it did definitely push her as a strong, independent woman who ends up getting screwed over by a man because men are evil. But she really didn't do much action in this movie. If you know how the Hunger Games movies work, even if you have not seen this, typically the first half of the movie is, leading up to the Hunger Games. The third act of the film is the actual Hunger Games, and then the fourth act is winding down and setting up for the next movie, and that is definitely what they did in this. I mean, there was maybe 20 minutes of action in the entirety of this movie. It is not even a film that is marketed as an action. It is a thriller. Okay, so I don't even know why she would have been nominated in the first place, and most of what she does in this movie is sing. And when you look at the competition in this category, it honestly seems very suspicious. Now, of course, this is a, as they call it, 100% fan voted award show. I personally have never trusted award shows, especially ones like this. It just seems a little bit bizarre, especially that out of, actors on this list that have so many movies under their belt, they are so well known that she would win. I want to know how much Disney paid for all the fake votes and how many Lionsgate threw into the mix, because this award show, of course, is planned years in advance. They know who's going to perform at it, and while they don't know who is specifically going to be nominated, this was around the time that Snow White was originally supposed to release. So imagine if she had done the Hunger Games and then she got this award and then Snow White had come out. It just seems like it was a perfect string of PR for her, and of course for Disney, which is what instantly popped into my mind, like, oh, this was definitely planned in advance. But when you look at the people that she was against, I just don't see any way that she could have won. You have Tom Cruise, who is on this list specifically for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, but look at the plethora of pieces of content and movies that he has done. I mean, if anyone is going to win on this list, it should have been him or Keanu Reeves, who was nominated for John Wick Chapter 4. Like, both of these movies are infinitely better than The Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and these are two actors who are infinitely better than someone like Rachel Zegler, who was in a movie, again, that was not even classified as an action movie, and she wasn't classified as an action actress in this. But you also have Gal Gadot, who was on this list for Heart of Stone, a movie that was okay, not great in my opinion. Brie Larson, who was in The Marvels. I don't know why The Marvels would have been on this list, if we're trying to at least put decent movies on this list. But you also have Jason Momoa, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and Chris Pratt, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Almost all of these other names were significantly better than Rachel Zegler, but she should have never been on this list in the first place. Of course, she gave this speech and she said how grateful she was for this win. And she said that, she loves movies and she loves making them. And I'm a fan of movies and I'm surrounded by movie fans tonight and movie fans who voted. I'm so thankful to everyone who's ever bought a ticket and watched something that so many people have made. And I mean, it was also, judging by the way that she looked compared to some of her competition and some of the competition that also was not there, Tom Cruise, it just seemed like they knew she was going to win. If you don't know much about these award shows, typically they tell the larger actors and actresses who were nominated, like, oh yeah, you have to be here because you're definitely going to be like in the top 2 or you're most likely going to win. So they have to show up, they have to have the speech ready to go. And when certain actors don't show up, that's when you kind of have this inkling of an idea that were obviously not going to win because they're not there to accept their award, but also they didn't even want to humor the award show. And it just seems absolutely hilarious that people like Tom Cruise were not there, and he clearly knew that he was not going to win. So all of this just did not sit well with other people either, not just me, because on the film updates post that was made, it's got 9 million views and people are destroying Rachel Zegler, Disney, Lionsgate, and of course the few people that are here that are publicly supporting her. I like the movie quite a lot, but there is no reality where she deserved that over the action work Cruise or Reeves did in their respective films, and this of the same year. I completely agree. There are many better movies that were on this list and actors who were on this list who maybe in some cases like Tom Cruise actually do their own stunts, like Keanu Reeves actually put in the time and effort to be called action stars. Absolute robbery. I completely agree with this. I mean, I would have been perfectly fine with Keanu or Tom, but there's no way that Rachel Zegler deserved to win that. It just seems so freaking suspicious, the timing of all of her movies and her actually winning this award. And of course, also keep in mind that just a few months ago, there was the actors on actors discussion where 2 actors sit down and chat with each other, and they had Holly Bailey, who had just recently played Ariel in the live action adaptation, and of course Rachel Zegler, who is playing Snow White, sit down and chat with each other about the toxicity that they went through and their histories with Disney characters. And it really seemed like this was a massive problem for Disney because they had all of this PR set up, all of these, discussions and interviews, and of course wins like this set up, and now they've all gone to nothing because the movie isn't even coming out anytime soon. So she won in an action category where she spends most of the movie singing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There really wasn't a lot of action within this film. I mean, Hunger Games is known for, having a very slow start, and then you get to the games in like the 3rd act, which is great. Don't get me wrong. There are many people who love the Hunger Games. Hunger Games has been very successful, even though Songbirds and Snakes made the least amount of money throughout all the Hunger Games movies. But she sang most of the time, and even in those action scenes, it really wasn't a lot of action. It was her primarily just running. Proof that awards are worthless. This is why I do not trust award shows. I know many of you also do not trust award shows. There's just so many suspicious things that happen with them, and this does not sit right with me. Of course, judging by the comments on social media, it is not sitting right with a lot of people. And, while Disney is working very hard to get Rachel Zegler into, better interviews, and she has completely changed her tune, and it seems like she actually has a PR team at this point, I just don't see a way that they could ever change the reception to her. I don't think that there is a way that they could make people either support the Snow White live action adaptation or Rachel Zegler at all, just because of the way that she acts, the things that she has said in the past. Of course, we are still about a year away from Snow White's release, so we still have a year of her to win more awards and to say very controversial things, but now she has won the Action Movie Star of the Year award, which makes absolutely no sense to so many people online. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.